Ladies and gentlemen, today you get a 2-for-1. Ricky will talk about humdinger pickups and something like ADHD or Van Helsing or something. And I'm starting a new feature called A Moment with Tony. You're gonna love it. Okay, over at the website, budgetguitarist.com, there's a small section called the Gallery of Awesomeness. It's small, but it's quality stuff, just like me. Today, we're going to look at a few new entries. These are some ads I pulled out of my old Spider-Man comics from the 60s. The title for this entry is Sleaze Marketed to Kiddies. Okay, let's look at the first one. The Hypno-Coin. It says, gently vibrate the plastic lens. This sets the hypnotic pattern into a whirling motion. So we're showing kids how to hypnotize women to get them to do what we want. That is sleazy. Maybe it's for the grown-ups who read comics. Excuse me, ma'am. I know you find me repulsive, but please gaze into my plastic circle. Note the whirling motion. Yeah, I bet that worked out great. I'm sure the next hypnotism ad won't show somebody trying to hypnotize some lady. Ah, jeez. Get a load of this guy. I wonder if he has a magic plastic circle, too. Look at this idiot over on the right pointing his finger at us. He looks like the kind of guy who can't get a date without a plastic disc. What a sleaze bag. Well, we got one more to go. I'm sure the next one won't have a woman in it at all. And I was wrong. See, this guy is looking at the bones in his hand. He ain't even thinking about trying to use those x-ray specs on the ghost of Wilma Flintstone over there. Oh well, it's not like they're trying to suggest that you can see through clothes with this thing. Is that really his body you see under his clothes? You ain't fooling anyone by saying he. You want to look at Wilma Flintstone. Does Fred know about this? Well, that's all I got time for. Now Ricky is gonna talk about some guitar crap, I guess. Hang on a minute. You are going to like this video. You are going to become a subscriber if you haven't already. Now, close your eyes. Close them. And when you wake up, you will click subscribe.
Hello, Richard from budgetguitarist.com. Today I'm going to take you through my humbucker sounds. So I've been working on presets for my HX Stomp for now a month and a half, and I think I've gotten to the point where I feel like they're good enough to share. What I'd like to do is just kind of play a little bit through each of them and kind of explain what I'm doing. And then if you look in the comment section below, I will post a link to my website, budgetguitarist.com, where you can download these presets for HX Stomp, or if you've got Pod Go, you can look at screenshots with all of my settings and then you can duplicate them. Now, some of my presets use the Own Hammer Friedman collection. It's about $20 on the Line 6 marketplace, and it's a 412 cab, and it's got vintage 30s, and it's got some other speakers, and it is highly recommended. I highly recommend it. Okay, so let's get into it. Here's my first clean sound. This is based on a Fender Deluxe. That's bridge. Here's both. Just a nice open sound. Here is clean amp number 2. This is based on Grammatico Bright amp model. Here's the bridge. Here's both. Moon River, wider than my ass. So here's my crunch 70s sound. It's like you can hear it's barely breaking up. And it was kind of inspired by that guitar sound. See, I'm talking so that it doesn't flag copyright. You know the one. And then snapshot number 2, more gain. So if you want to do like a 70s guitar solo. Here's crunch 80s. And this to me is not a metal sound. This is like just a really good overdriven 80s kind of guitar sound. When you look back at the history of distorted guitar, it starts out dark and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter until it gets to today's buzzsaw sounds, which we'll get to in a minute. Right now we're still in the 80s. And I think snapshot 2, I think I have a higher gain version. Let's see. Yep. Okay, here's one I call VanMac. I think you'll be able to figure out why. You know, I can't play the real riffs because it's going to set off like the copyright filters or whatever. So I'm doing like the generic brand version of these riffs. You know, it's kind of like Count Chocolate instead of Count Chocula, you know? So the VanMac sound here, this is the PV Panama amp model, which is obviously modeled after Eddie Van Halen's amp with PV. All right, next, my solo sound. You'll notice not a lot of high-end sparkle, but there's a lot of mid-range, and that's to cut through the mix. You'll hear a lot of harmonics in it too. I think I already put this patch on my website on budgetguitarist.com for download, but I'll put it there again. The secret to this, it's the Brit Plexi Bright model, right? But there's 2 pedals stacked, and it's a clone, and a tube screamer clone stacked together. It just sings. So now I got 3 metal presets. It's down to. See if I can do some Count Chocolate, Porcupine Tree. never heard Open Car by Porcupine Tree, go look it up. It's way better than that. But anyway, that's metal 1. Here's metal 2, which is just a variation. And last but not least, metal 3. Actually, you know what this reminds me of? Count Chocolate. Okay, one of the things I want to point out is, and you'll see the screenshots over on the Budget Guitarist website, it's really important to watch out for the high-end kind of content. And one of the best things you can do if you're using an IR or if you're using a cab, you know, from the Helix software, is to just go in and take that high cut and take it down to somewhere between like 3 kilohertz and maybe 6 or 7 kilohertz, so that you're not allowing the fizz to pass by. That's the number one thing that you can do on any of this Helix-based stuff. And that also goes for the Pod Go. If you're feeling like something is too like Slee Stack-ish, for you old farts who know who the Slee Stacks were, if it sounds like AM radio, then look for that high cut. There's a lot more to talk about, but I'm kind of out of time for this week. If you're interested in more of these kind of videos, leave a comment in the comments section. If not, I'll move on to something else. But at least I will have done what I said I was going to do, which is to share my presets. I'm pretty happy with this unit. I think it sounds really good. And although some of the patches are not great out of the box, you really can tweak them, as I've done, and come up with what I think is some really good sounding results. I'm basing these sounds on these big ZLX powered speakers by EV, and the reason is this is my live rig. I have 2 of these, and then I have an EV subwoofer. So I've got my sound, and so when I'm practicing, you know, when I'm building these patches, I'm building them specifically for this. Not really for recording, not really for YouTube. So some of that might not come across. But anyway, if you like this video, please consider subscribing, click the like button, click the bell button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. If you've got ideas for other videos, put them in the comments section. I have a list of about 100 ideas, but your ideas might be like way better than mine. And if that's the case, I would love to make some of those videos. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Tony and I thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we will see you next Friday at 5.
But please gaze. But come on, Ricky.